NIO have just launched their electric cars in Europe, and they've come under some pretty heavy criticism for the way that they've done it. The fact that they're not offering them for direct sale, it's mostly a subscription basis. And now NIO CEO has fired some shots at Tesla. He's pointed out why he thinks Tesla could potentially be at significant risk of failure, and said why he believes NIO has an advantage over Tesla. Well, I'm going to share some facts and what I see happening to NIO. I actually believe NIO right now are on the verge of being in some very significant trouble, in particular in terms of finances. They haven't made a profit at any point in the history of their company. And their new business model is exceptionally risky and hasn't gone down well in Europe. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome back, everyone else. Thank you for tuning in. NIO, one of the most well-known electric car manufacturers in the world, electric car startup, basically did go bankrupt several years ago. And then it was a complicated situation, but essentially they got more funding in and the company was able to refloat itself and become what it is today. And today it is actually a fairly successful automaker in China. Of course, NIO is very well aware it needs to expand out of China. Why? China is a battleground. It is tough to compete in China. It is the world's biggest car market by a big margin. And in fact, 60% of all electric cars sold worldwide right now are sold in China. That's huge. NIO is part of that. But they are clearly struggling to ramp up development. They're clearly struggling to actually produce their own electric cars. Right now, another company makes NIO's EVs for them. That's actually the truth. It's kind of a joint venture, but the truth is that other company builds NIO's electric cars for them. Now, NIO is in the process of changing that and building its own EVs itself, but it is clearly struggling, like other companies, Lucid, Rivian, etc., to ramp up production. Xpeng, same story. And I believe the CEO of NIO is trying to deflect our attention from the real issues going on here, which is NIO's sales. NIO, well, their stock price has dropped from $62. That was a high just over a year ago to now only about $12. Nobody saw this coming. If you say you did, I don't believe you, because I don't think anyone saw this coming. Seeing a stock price drop by 80% seems drastic, right? Why has this happened? Well, to be honest, the market thinks NIO makes good cars. They do make good EVs. They're compelling. Their business model, though, is complicated and confusing. For example, they have vehicles where you can buy either the car with a battery pack in it, right? Just like any other EV, or you can buy a car without a battery. And then you can basically hire the battery. Now, one big advantage of having this is that they also have essentially battery swapping stations. It's like a petrol station, a gas station. You drive in there and your battery can be swapped out in about 2 or 3 minutes, and you can drive away with a new fully charged battery pack. And that's NIO's model. They have more than 1,000 battery swapping stations in China. They plan on doing the same thing in Europe. It's very expensive though. Building out these battery swapping stations all over the globe, very, very hard to do for a very small company. That's why I'm not convinced this will succeed, because of the capital outlay required. Now, if this was, say, some big conglomerate, if this was, say, Volkswagen, General Motors, etc., doing this, I could see it maybe having more success, right? It would be easy to convert your own customers to your new product. But the thing is, NIO doesn't have a lot of its own customers, and it's a small company. So trying to do something on this scale is going to be challenging. Now, NIO is in the process of expanding to 25 countries worldwide. They want to sell their EVs in 25 countries before 2025. That's their plan. I think they will succeed. They've already been selling EVs in Europe, in a couple of different European countries now for a couple of years. And the reality is, NIO's electric cars are actually very, very good. If you look at, say, the Polestar 3, right? The Polestar 3 was launched today. If you compare NIO's models that are similar to that, they're much more affordable and could be better. I mean, realistically, NIO does make excellent products, but Right now, they don't have anything that's truly affordable. So they're limiting their market, and they don't make vehicles right now using lithium iron phosphate batteries, which are obviously an affordable battery. Therefore, NIO doesn't make a profit. I mean, it's more complicated than that, but the truth is NIO hasn't made a profit ever in their history. How long can they keep doing this? Well, recently, Nio CEO gave an interview, and I think he tried to deflect some of the criticism, some of the facts away from the company and focus on Tesla. He thinks Tesla is at risk. Well, the reality is here, Tesla has more than $20 billion in cash sitting in the bank. So yes, Tesla sales could go down, but they're in about 1,000 times better financial position than NIO is. And that is simply the facts here. Now, NIO were planning on entering the United States market to sell their EVs in the US. But they say now that as a result of the Biden administration's their changes to the regulations in terms of providing incentives to electric car manufacturers to build their EVs in North America, that now they're not so sure that they're going to go ahead with their plans to sell their EVs in the US. And as a result, the market is seeing NIO in a bit of a different way now. Now, during the launch of its new ET5 sedan, which is a very impressive EV, NIO shared plans for an additional expansion in Europe, including the Netherlands, Sweden, and Denmark. Overall, the automaker said it intends to have a presence in 25 countries and regions by 2025. Now, NIO had spoken about their intention to enter the US. In fact, they listed job positions in the US within the last 12 months. In fact, sales jobs in the US within the last 12 months. So it is a bit of a surprise to hear that now NIO have changed their minds. One thing I found strange about William Li's comments in this interview the other day was that he was actually very, very effusive in his praise of Volkswagen and Mercedes-Benz. But when it came to Tesla, he wasn't so positive. This is what he said. Tesla is a respectable car manufacturer, and we can learn a lot from them. For example, direct sales, or how they have trimmed their production for efficiency. Interesting that he mentions trimming their production for efficiency. In other words, he's very well aware of the fact that Tesla's put a huge amount of effort into making EVs that actually are affordable for the automaker, where they can actually make a profit. Big difference, right? Tesla makes a big profit. NIO makes no profit. In fact, makes a significant loss. He said, NIO and Tesla are two different companies. Tesla focuses on technology and efficiency. Technology is important to us, but we focus on the user. Tesla has played an important role in transforming the automotive industry towards electric mobility. Still, Tesla is under pressure. If they don't improve their products fast enough or don't provide good services, they will quickly be pushed out of the market. Now, personally, I don't agree with any of that. I mean, every automaker is under pressure, but I think Tesla is probably under significantly less pressure than most automakers. I mean, realistically, who's going to feel more pressure, right? General Motors, Ford, Toyota, Volkswagen, when 95% of the vehicles they make today are vehicles that no one wants in 2030. I mean, nobody's going to want gasoline-powered vehicles in 2030. So who's under more pressure? Those companies to completely change their organizations from producing a product that no one is going to be buying to producing a product that they don't make today. That to me is much harder, much more difficult than simply improving your product, right? Which is what Tesla has to do, bring new models to market. Now, one of the things that he said was he was a bit critical of Elon Musk tweeting. He said that he speaks directly to customers through Facebook, but I'm not sure how he actually does that because Facebook's banned in China. So I'm really confused. William, if you have any staff watching this video, please get in contact with me and tell me how you're getting around the ban on Facebook in China. Obviously, YouTube's banned as well in China. That's a bit weird to me. If you're speaking to your customers on Facebook, I don't think any of them are actually hearing you because unless they're using a VPN, virtual proxy network, to get around China's ban on Facebook, they can't actually use the platform. Just letting you know that that is the case. Now, this is what he said about profitability. As a startup, it takes a while to be profitable. We've invested a great deal in the development of our cars and in the infrastructure and thus in the future. We have a finely tuned plan to generate profits step by step. It took Tesla 16 years to become profitable. With NIO, this will be the case much faster. So he's saying, Tesla, they didn't do very well because it took them 16 years to make a profit. We're going to make a profit much faster than in 16 years. Is it really true it took Tesla 16 years to make a profit? Well, I mean, technically you could say that, but that's kind of a strange manipulation of the facts. I'm not so sure that that's really accurate. But hey, you know what? What matters more than anything else is not if it takes you 16 years to become profitable. It's whether or not these guys are still going to be around in 16 years. And frankly, unless they start making a profit, in my view, within the next 12 months and ramping their production by a minimum of double or triple, absolute minimum of double, then this company, their stock price will go down even further. Customers will probably lose confidence in them. And I don't believe customers are convinced by the subscription model. That won't work in Europe. There's been huge criticism of them. I believe William Li needs to focus on NIO. Forget about criticizing Tesla. Focus on your company. Focus on how you can make a profit. And clearly Tesla is the benchmark on how you can do that. Don't criticize these guys publicly. Maybe keep that private. That's what I suggest. And then also take a page from Herbert Diess and Jim Farley. Jim Farley, CEO of Ford. Herbert Diess, CEO of Volkswagen. What are these guys doing? They're doing everything they can to learn from Tesla how they make EVs at such a tremendous profit. How are they doing it? And then they're giving praise to Tesla, saying how we can learn from them. That's what I suggest William does. But hey, that's just me. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. What do you think about NIO? And what do you think about their new subscription model in Europe? Do you think that will work? I have my significant doubts.